introduce you to a game I came across on Wargame Vault. It's called Metalstorm. It's a fantasy skirmish battle zine. I printed it out, actually downloaded the PDF. It costs like $3 or $4, I believe. Check out Drive-Thru RPG and Wargame Vault for some real cheap independent games. This one is, it's a New Icon is who created this. They have another game out there called Future Shock. And there's another one, oh my gosh, can't remember it, but it's like a solo. These games are actually, you could play against a fellow player, or it does have solitaire rules in the back of this thing. Check them out. They got some pretty cool games here. And this Metalstorm here is, it says fantasy, but you can actually use it for sci-fi if you want. It talks about how it begins here, swords clash, arrows fly, magic is cast, and enemies are slain like the scoundrels they are. This is Metalstorm, a tabletop miniatures game of skirmishes between opposing warbands set on whatever world you desire. What it is, it sets you up on a basis here. Very simple rules, but if you're into like the RPGs and stuff, you can get out your tables and start rolling for towns and stuff and start creating a world here. And these are real basic, it's a real basic skirmish set of rules here. It's made for between 25 and 32 millimeter minis. Dice is usually going to be D6. Tape measure, it tells you what you need. You could play it on a 2x2 mat, tabletop, whatever. Train, you don't need much, but things like, it tells you like boxes and stuff. But yeah, it's for beginners, but I think veterans would be interested in this too. Has your warband creation down here, and it's pretty interesting. You go right here, I'll just hold it up. And you pick out like dark elf, dragonkin, dwarf, elf, goblin, troll, orc, human, halfling, gnoll. You'll see these points here. So you select the miniature's race that you like. The point value is also the base health value of the miniature. So if you picked a human, it costs 3 points and has a health of 3. Or if you picked an orc, it would cost 4 and have a health of 4. Real simple, real to the point and all that. You got troll here for like 6 points and all that. So next comes equipment, which is an important piece to the creation of your warband's member. Apply any equipment, weapons, armor, etc. And keep in mind that you should try and stick to what the miniature is basically equipped with. Try to, keep the lore with the miniature, I guess. If a miniature is equipped with a two-handed sword, and use it, that's what you're going to have it as. So your heavy armor is like 2 points and light armor is 1 point. So for example, in this example, we begin with a goblin warrior, which is a 3 points, wearing light armor. So you look here as 1 point, and equipped with a short bow, which is 3 points. So you add them up, and ends up with a total would be 7 points. So that's going to be the goblin's health, is 7 points. So, and the way you fight against each other is you take a d6, and whoever rolls the highest with plus the modifiers wins. And then you're going to roll for damage pretty much. And it's the same thing. Here's the range combat. You have short, medium, and long range. I've always just liked the short and the long range. I never really got into the medium range stuff, so I might just do short and long and leave it at that. And it shows you the weapons here: crossbow, longbow, short bow, throwing weapon. It gives you the distance for each of the weapons here. Range attacks can never be fired beyond the weapon's long range, and so forth. So to determine if a hit is scored, you roll a d6 and consult the range, and that's how you determine on that. So I'm just kind of going through here, just briefly telling you about it. Here we got the melee combat. Obviously, melee occurs is when when you have the base on base, whatever. So, anyways, some modifiers here, like attacker didn't move prior to making an attack, is a +1. Attacker is an elf or a dark elf is a +1. I guess there's some advantages of being an elf. Attacker is a halfling or goblin is a -1, which I can understand. Short arms, and so forth. So target in soft cover, hard cover, -1, 2. So, and then you got your melee here, down here. Ranged weapons are not considered to be used for melee weapons. I understand that. Miniatures declaring attack move into contact the same turn. It declared as a +1. So if you're charging, you get a +1 because you're in charge. Miniature being attacked is equipped with shield is a +1, so an extra armor. So Yep, and then damage and death is down here. Roll 1d6, applying modifiers to your rolls. The target suffers 1 damage as the attacker's roll is equal to or greater than the target's roll. Damage is subtracted from a miniature's health value. When a miniature's health drops to 0, they're dead. So pretty cool, pretty simple stuff, and that's what I like, because I like to try to create a world and all that stuff and do narrative gaming. I love the narrative stuff. So it has some more modifiers here for attacker's roll, like if you use a short or long bow, it's a +1 to the roll, so forth. So carrying a shield is +1, equipped with light armor, so forth. So and then you got your magic and sorcerers and all that. So and it has certain spells that you can use. I'm not going to go through all this stuff, but there's a lot of spells here. All spells have difficulty of 4+ on a d6 roll. If failed, it is not cast, and that's pretty much it. So next, zombification. If you're going to use hordes like skeletons and zombies, skeletons are 1 point, zombies are 2 points. Skeletons move 5 inches, zombies shamble 4 inches. Tells you right here the following additional modifiers apply to melee. Living miniature engaged with an undead miniature gets a +1 on their roll. Undead miniature engaged with a living miniature is a -1. I understand that. Following additional modifiers apply to attackers when determining damage. +1 for if you're attacking the zombie, -1 if you're attacking a skeleton. Modifiers apply to defenders when determining damage. Defender is a skeleton, is a +1. Each turn, the living commander can act normally. So like the sorcerer can command the skeletons or so forth, or the zombies and stuff. So, and then the zombification right here. So cool. If a zombie kills an enemy miniature, the zombie player immediately rolls a 1d6. On the result of a 6+, they have torn into the flesh of their enemy, turning them into a zombie. Leave the miniature on its side where it was killed. At the start of the next turn, it is now a zombie. Yeah. I think that's awesome, dude. And then you roll for your scenarios down here. 2d6s, and you could roll for assassination, invasion, capture, heist, and midnight standard game. And then it gives you an explanation of each one on the pages here. So solitaire rules here. So pretty simple stuff. What's neat about the solitaire rules is when you are playing, when you do roll up your warband and then your enemy's warband, you don't put the enemy's warband, the miniatures out there. You put like tokens out there, and it's like they can move towards you, because that's what they have certain rules for what the enemy does. When playing solitaire, follow this guide for the enemy. Roll a d6 when activating miniatures with ranged weapons. 5+, they move 2 inches towards cover or away from your warband. They will always fire if they are able to. Miniatures with only melee weapons will always move toward your warband's miniatures and attack if able. Roll d6 when activating sorcerers, stuff like that. Keep in mind that the enemy is trying to achieve victory just as your warband is. So, play like it's you playing it, and like it's your warband. And then confrontation. This is cool. You'll create a warband that totals no more than 80 points and engage a standard game of Metalstorm. The enemy won't be known until they are encountered on the battlefield. Confrontation allows you to play an unknown enemy with challenges. I think that is really cool. You'll be going up to them, and then finally in the line of sight, you figure out who you're up against and stuff. So I think that's really cool. It's a surprise. And then you have to sit there and try to figure out some quick strategy. So, and it shows you right here, when an enemy is seen, roll 1d6. So if you roll the 1, you come across an orc who has 4 health, 2-handed weapon, light armor. Gnoll, 5 health, short bow, light armor. And it's just like, whoa, and say you only have a sword and you came across one of those dudes and you'd be like, oh crap. So anyways, you could pretty much, it could become, you could become outmanned almost, as surprise, I just like that. So, and then you have your interactions here. You have to roll if you could bash open a door or whatever. And then if you're searching, you come across tokens or treasure chests. You roll 1d6 for results of what you discovered here. And that's your create and explore here. It's basically what I was just telling you about is, you create and you explore your own little world and all that stuff. Has a little Warband roster sheet here. You could print it out, and that's it. So just like it says here, this is your game. So create your desired world setting and work around the rules to fit whatever you need to implement. And that's what I like about these independent games. So anyways, you're gonna see a game here of this pretty soon. It'll be your standard fantasy, and we'll figure out this and give this a shot here. So yeah, keep an eye out for Metalstorm Fantasy Skirmish Battlezine. I hope you guys are doing well, and thought I'd do a very brief discussion about this and give you a heads up. So I know another game I came across, so I got my 2d6s, and I'm gonna go ahead and create my little warband and all that, and keep an eye out for it, man. You guys take care, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye bye.